Alphabet is under attack. So we all have heard the stories about Google being dead because of AI, and AI like OpenAI, ChatGPT, Perplexity AI, and all these startups disrupting the Google business model, because people, like, the story goes as follows: people are not going to be using Google again because AI will just make it unnecessary. So we have this 10x improvement over Google, and 10x improvement over Google will actually change over time people habit, the usage habit of search and information retrieval, and that's why Google's business model, like the ad-based business model, is dead. So actually, I would strongly disagree with this thesis, and in this video we are going to learn why. I will also give you a stock valuation based on a very non-conservative napkin math model I have developed. Okay, so let's start with the Alphabet's revenue growth. Actually in the years 2011 to 2023, we have seen a revenue growth almost by 10x, so from 37 billion to 307 billion USD per year. So they are generating $300 billion annual revenue in the year 2023. And we have seen how growth has remained relatively steady from 2020 to 2021. We have seen a peak revenue growth year by 40%, and then we have had some reversion to the mean, so to say. So like a year where revenue growth was only 10%, and weaker year even in 2023 in terms of revenue growth by only 8.6%, because in 23 there was a lot of recession talk and people stopped spending so much money on advertisement. So this was one bad year, I would say. I wouldn't count 2022 as a bad year because we had this huge leap in revenue growth, and they actually maintained and expanded on their revenue growth even a year after. And in 2024, we can now already see that revenue growth will be probably mid-teens percentage points, as we will discuss later in this video. So we see revenue growth in the mid-teens somewhere, right? Which is actually a very a success story, having this kind of revenue growth for a company of that size. And Google CEO Sundar Pichai actually gives us a glimpse into Google's strategy on how to tackle the AI problem I have described earlier. And he proposes 7 pillars. I will just go over all of those pillars one by one. I can quickly mention them here. The first one is research leadership, second one infrastructure leadership, then innovation in search, global product footprint, velocity and execution, and monetization paths. So let's quickly go over each of them to learn actually how Google addresses the AI problem or opportunity. Like any problem can be an opportunity. So first of all, Google has a huge leadership in research. You can see on papers, like the transformer model was developed or proposed in a paper called Attention is All You Need, developed mainly by Google people from the deep brain Google research group. And you can see, I just researched some positions, some standard positions working for Google Research, where you can make on average, the average salary would be 133K to 240K. This is without benefits and without options, stock option grants and stuff. So you can really get rich working for Google. And you can see what they are working on broad AI topics such as embodied AI, robotics, generalist AI agent for 3D virtual environments. So they work on virtualization, metaverse and stuff like this. So we have a broad interest base of the Google Research Group, but everything centers around the big topic of AI. And the story goes like this: if Google has or maintains the leadership by paying top-notch salary for the top talent, top AI leaders in the world. And you can see what this, like if you have AI leadership in terms of AI top talent, you can see with OpenAI, even a small group of really outstanding AI researchers can change the world, can completely disrupt whole industries. And Google is one of those few companies, a handful of companies, that gets all the best talents. I would like add Tesla in this group, OpenAI, and a couple of those companies, Facebook, obviously Apple, Amazon, and so there's a handful of companies that gets all the best AI researchers in the world. Okay, so this strategy actually pays off. They develop great products such as like generative AI rollouts, the Gemini AI. Sorry about that. So we can have an example. Gemini. Let me quickly give you an example. Gemini. So here we have an example of Gemini. How does it work? Let's make it a bit smaller. Okay, so you know it's like ChatGPT. You can enter any prompt, like what is the answer. It will give you some answers, like probably something with 42. You can also ask it questions like, give me some AI news, and it will give you some recent information, some recent AI news, and it uses a topic that we will also discuss in this video very briefly, called Retrieval, Augmented Generation, or RAG. And so the Google Research Group, if they maintain the research leadership, they will roll out products like this, revolutionary products like this, and they will over time maintain also their revenue leadership, like remaining one of the largest companies on earth. So I think it's a great strategy for them. It works greatly. They definitely have top talent in research. They develop new products, open up whole new industries, like developing the transformer model, opening up the generative AI space, and it's actually creating new revenue opportunities in the process. The second one, the second pillar, is to build world-class AI infrastructure. And now we are talking not only about like theoretical research or something, or even practical research. We are talking about the infrastructure on which our whole space, like the whole world, will eventually be built. We are talking about NVIDIA and AWS and Microsoft Azure, and also obviously Google Cloud. And Google develops now new AI processing units called TPUs, tensor processing units, that have some of the lowest cost per performance. So if you want to train a model, you need to use a certain number of operations called like exaflops, for example, or teraflops. You need, so the larger the models get, the more operations you need for training and inference. And in order to process those operations, you need the processing units, right? And the more we collectively as humanity train those models, the more processing capacity we need. And what we care about is less the capacity of an individual processing unit. This you could easily maximize by buying NVIDIA chips. But we care more about the cost per processing operation, right? And the cost per processing operation is like if you have cost leadership, you have a good chance of capturing a big fraction of all those processing demands. And in my opinion, in my view, we are really early in the AI space. We will see 100 to 1000x increase in demand, so multiple orders of magnitude increase in demand for AI training. So even now, Google Cloud, the cloud infrastructure, is already a significant driver of revenue and profits for Google and for AWS. So AWS is mainly valued on those revenues. And also you can see NVIDIA, which is as big as Google company, is only valued by the revenues generated by the AI training infrastructure. And in my opinion, in my view, there may be some volatility, but we will see like a 100 to 1000x increase in computational demand. So the world is awakening all around us. It wakes up, it becomes intelligent and aware, and all this awareness costs huge amount of training and retraining and inference, right? And there are, again, only a couple of big players who can actually provide the infrastructure for AI training, and Google is one of them. With the TPUs, they have already developed, like they had the foresight of developing these processing units a decade ago. During my PhD, I have already talked and written about the tensor processing unit, which is like a decade ago. So they really understand AI. They are an AI first company since the beginning, basically. The next pillar to leverage the mega trend of AI is AI-driven search, obviously. So many people believe search is dead, but I would say the opposite is true. And you can also see the revenue generated by search advertisements has actually increased. The number of searches has increased and the revenue per ad impression has increased year over year in the last, in this quarter, Q1 2024. And and what they are doing now is they just integrate more generative AI content or generated content into the search engine result page, right? So you can see that AI is now simply integrated into the response, the query that the user has. And collectively, billions of people use the Google search engine. The habit is already well established. I want to keep using Google. I always find myself going back to Google, searching for stuff. And now I'm not only finding the best answers, like prepared answers written by humans in like blogs and articles and stuff. I can also find some response by AIs that have learned from this data. So this basically, AI not only helps Google give you the best content for your question, it also can now dynamically generate content that is very specific to your information need. So it will actually increase Google's leadership, in my opinion, concerning information, satisfying the information need of human beings. I think more queries will be issued and people will spend more time on the Google search result page, which means Google will be able to create more ad impressions, but more on this later. So generally, I think Google search is also bullish for the company. So Google search, even this, it could be disrupted and anything could happen, but I don't think it will happen. So people won't just use Perplexity AI. If Google can actually provide the same stuff, I mean, Perplexity AI would have to be 10 times better in order for me or billions of other people to do the switch. But even if you are slightly inferior with Google to Perplexity AI, people would still keep using Google because of the strength of the habit that was deployed. But I would argue that Google is not 10 times worse than Perplexity AI or ChatGPT. It is actually slightly better, and the whole end-to-end user experience is quicker, it's better, it's more. It's now more enriched with AI, and they will keep slightly integrating more and more AI into the search engine result page, so that the search experience and the satisfaction of the information need will be much higher with Google than other companies. So I think this is like a huge opportunity for Google. I'm really bullish about Google, and now especially considering that they use RAG, so Retrieval Augmented Generation, to enhance their search results. So normally if you use a large language model like ChatGPT or so, initially you just issue the question to the large language model, and the model initially gives you the answer to the question or to the prompt, right? And based on its own internal knowledge. But it has been found, and proven time and again that if you add context, high quality context, the better context, the better the outcome. If you add it to the prompt, so some context could be retrieved from the vector store, or if you have external databases, external user data, you can pull information from, for example, using a similarity search. And by the way, Google is an expert in this type of retrieval and augmentation for a certain user query, right? They have done this for 2 decades. I have seen books like information retrieval books 2 decades ago when I was a student, and Google has mastered similarity search and stuff. They have mastered concepts like vector store. Internally, they use it to find relevant information for a certain query. And now they can feed this relevant information into the large language model alongside the prompt or user query, and they can enrich the result with, they can give a much better answer than just a standalone large language model. And as Google is one of the leaders in information retrieval, they will also be the leader in retrieval augmented generation. And if you're a coder, you know how powerful this concept is. And now, this would be great on itself, right? But now what they are doing, they provide an API for this for developers like us. Like even if you're a beginner developer, you can use Vertex AI. And Vertex AI is an API, so application programming interface. You can issue your queries there programmatically. You can integrate your app or integrate AI into your application, no matter what your application is, and enrich its functionality. You can create smart devices easily using this concept RAG, using Vertex AI. So Google gives you the power to do this. And actually, if you are interested in this, you can check out the Pfingster Computer Science Academy. Just go to academy.pfingster.com or Google Pfingster Academy, and it will give you like a list of courses. One of the most recent courses, I think the third course or so, is called Building Generative AI Apps with Google's Vertex AI and LangChain. So it will teach you how, like, as a beginner prompt engineer or AI coder, it will teach you how you can create your own applications and connect them with Google's Vertex AI application programming interface to make your application smarter. So I think it's a huge concept. It's very, very powerful. Now your application can go from dumb to IQ 150 like in a split second, but just calling an API. It's a very powerful concept, and we teach it on Pfingster as well. So the next pillar is to simply expand the services they already have with billions of users. For example, Google Search has 3.6 billion users. Android phones, very underrated service, has 3 billion users. Chrome has 2.65 billion users. Gmail 1.8 billion. Google Drive 1 billion. Google Maps 1 billion. Google Play Store 2.5 billion users. YouTube obviously 2 billion users. So we have these existing services, and all of them can benefit from an integration of AI. So that we'll simply use AI and put them into these services one way or the other. And like improve each of those services, improve the user experience, improve the number of users and the time spent on these services, which will, like later on, if I value Google, which will give us a glimpse into the strategy and I think the monopoly that Google still has in regards to some properties we will discuss later. So obviously this is very powerful, very simple concept, simply using AI in these existing services in order to improve the user experience. Next pillar, I will actually skip this. It's only about improving speed and efficiency by using AI internally. There are Google uses it to improve the operating expenses basically of the company, increasing its profitability and efficiency internally, which is great, but let's not focus too much on this. Now the final pillar is about monetizing new AI inventions, and there are like different ways of doing it. One of the major ways I think will be to keep pushing along the cloud and AI infrastructure as a service vertical, They have, for example, provided 1,000 new products in the last 8 months. All of them are like cloud products users can now access and integrate their applications with. So just providing the infrastructure for the new world that is based on an AI-first concept is huge, right? For example, providing an AI hypercomputer anybody can access, NVIDIA GPUs, TPUs, tensor processing units that are highly cost efficient. And in fact, you can see like more than 60% of all funded generative AI startups and 90% of generative AI unicorns with a market capitalization of $1 billion plus are actually Google Cloud customers. This is great news for Google investors, right? And shareholders and stakeholders generally. And this trend will just continue. Like as new and new applications emerge, more and more a larger and larger fraction of the world will run on AI infrastructure. And AI infrastructure, again, is training huge models. Data increases, the data sizes increase exponentially these days, like the last couple of decades, I should say. So more data means we need more training, right? It's almost a no-brainer. It is so simple, the investment thesis is so simple and so profound, and the space is infinite. Right, having like an exponentially increasing data set, and the data always changes, which means that the existing models become larger, right? The AIs become larger and more sophisticated, they become more intelligent, they have more artificial neurons. So we have more data on more neurons, which has already like a quadratic relationship, but both of those increase exponentially. So we have like an exponential force times an exponential force that increases the number of operations needed to train AIs. So it's just such a mind-boggling concept. We would see multiple orders of magnitude of growth, which means that there can be massive companies providing services. Not only one, but I think a handful of AI-first companies. And I would say Google, Amazon, Meta, all these standard tech companies, and obviously Microsoft as well, will provide the infrastructure. Then they have subscription revenue, simply like Google One subscribers just for storage and stuff, and they will add new AI enhanced plans, for example, accessing premium Gemini stuff like OpenAI Plus or something like this on the Google equivalent AIs. This will be one path of monetization. They will keep following. They already have like 100 million people paying them monthly. So this is already like a great revenue source for them and very sustainable. And then they have, in the traditional segments, they use AIs. And traditional segments are still exciting, right? I mean, we all use YouTube a lot. I use YouTube multiple hours per day. And you can see YouTube ad revenue we have seen in the recent quarter a 21% year-over-year growth. Search ads, 14% year-over-year growth in revenue. So that's why, like, I think even in the traditional space, integrating AI, using AI to create more relevant advertisements is an opportunity. It is very simple, but it is a very, very sustainable opportunity. And now you may ask, how sustainable are ads in the first place, having like an AI first world, right? So a world that is based on where every company that survives will put AI or will prioritize AI. I mean, you can ask this question, but still we have like you can see Google is heavily dependent on advertisements, right? We have search ads, 57% of the revenue, YouTube ads, 10% of the revenue, display ads, 9% of the revenue. So it's like 19 plus 57 is like 76% or so. Like a large portion of the cake is advertising revenue. And all of this obviously benefits from AI. It could also be threatened by AI, but I don't think so because even if AI satisfies the information need, if Google provides this AI, they can also add some advertisement revenue to this, right? The AI could also give some information. And then a smaller piece of the pie is subscription revenue and Google Cloud revenue. And we have already discussed this. Google Cloud revenue could be massive. So putting it all together, Alphabet remains one of the global AI powerhouses. If you want to invest in a company that is and that has an AI first approach, then you should consider Google. You can see this paper again, Attention is All You Need, that actually kicked off the transformer idea that made OpenAI possible, was developed by Google researchers mainly. Like from the like 7 or 8 researchers mentioned here, 6 are working for Google. So Google is still one of the leaders in AI, and they remain the leaders. They pay for top talent, and they get the top talent. And the revenue is growing. Even like Google has a large company, it's a huge company, one of the biggest companies in the world, but the revenue growth is north of 10%, right? It remains north of 10%, maybe 15%. And the cost of revenue grows slower than the revenue grows, which means the operating efficiency of the company increases, right? You want revenue growing faster than cost of revenue, because this means your net profit margin increases over time. You scale well. And we see that traditional businesses are still going strong. YouTube ads. We see cloud AI infrastructure have an infinite market opportunity, basically. A small risk factor many people mentioned before is that search may be used for, maybe replaced by AIs. But even this, I mean, how will they replace? Probably with an RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation style approach. So adding some retrieved information to the prompt in order to improve the performance or accuracy of the output. And Google is the leader in this regard as well, and they will keep the user habit, they will keep the users on the search engine result page. And as they have the attention, monetization opportunities come. And this is basically how I value companies like Google. I basically value them proportional to the attention they have. And here is my thesis. I think Google is still like one of the biggest monopolies of our times, and many people don't see it. Many people think they are weak, but I think they are so incredibly strong. They can basically decide the revenue they want. Oftentimes they don't. I think they purposely reduce their revenue growth. They don't monetize everything they could in order to prevent countries of destroying them for monopolistic reasons. So how do I come to this thesis? So let's have an example. 2 billion people spend 2 hours per day on either an Android phone, Chrome browser, YouTube. Like me alone, my son, we spend a couple of hours per day on YouTube. Google search, I spent maybe an hour or so, half an hour. AI tools, half an hour. Photos, I don't know, a few minutes. Android phone, couple of hours. Chrome, so they control the attention. Like your attention, your mind goes through Google services, through Google interfaces into the internet, and they control a huge part of it, and which means that they could theoretically monetize it. I mean, they could throw ads at it, they could promote some products with it, they can do whatever, they can harness the data somehow and sell models, I don't know, harnessing the data. They could front run you in ways, like they could use simply the data they obtained by this information in order to find the, I don't know, invest in the new emerging companies or whatever. I mean, this has value, right? And the question is, how can you monetize, say, 1 hour of attention? I would say, like, assuming a $1 monetization level of your attention, of a full hour of your attention. Like, if they could profit $1 to get to have like 1 hour of your undivided attention, the numbers would already be insane. They would make a profit like no other company, right? They would have like this would be the realistic case if you have 2 billion users with 2 hours of daily attention. I think this is still very pessimistic. In reality, would be much higher. And we assume a net income per hour of attention of only $1. They would get a total net income of 1.4 trillion US dollars per year, and at a like very conservative 25 price earning multiple, we would get a valuation already today of 36 trillion USD, or a per share value of $2,900. So I think the Google per share valuation maybe currently is like $160 or so. Let's quickly check. Alphabet stock. It is like 170 bucks or so, yeah, and market cap of 2 trillion or 2,000 billion. And I think, I mean, the realistic, this is already like the realistic valuation in my case. If they would really try to monetize the attention, you could already see insane valuation. You could see insane profit. And I think they purposely don't monetize all they can. And so they steadily grow their revenue by a couple of like double-digit percentage points over a long period of time, so that nobody will, no country will destroy them for a monopolistic behavior. Yeah, I mean, this is just math. You can do the math yourself. You can plug in your own numbers here. It's not investment advice, but in my opinion, Google is still very undervalued. Yeah, so I think this is a great takeaway. Check out this valuation model. I think like monetizing in a way, I mean, put in your own numbers, but the thinking should be very valuable to you, because I think, like, I have never seen such a model, but I think this is hugely valuable to few companies through this lens, how much attention they have in the market space and how much value you can extract from this attention. And Google is doing nothing, for example, to extract value from Android users currently or Chrome users. They don't have native Chrome ads or something like this. They don't sell their products via Chrome blue button at the top or something. They could do this, but they decide not to do it in order to just keep growing the attention they control. So this is like a very interesting company, and I think yeah, it's a very exciting opportunity for investors as well. Okay, so if you found this interesting, then give me a like, subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to our free email newsletter. I will send out information like this once per week. We have 160,000 tech enthusiasts already subscribed. I love talking to the community. I love every single one of them. You can reply to my emails, and yeah, I think it's a great way to communicate. It's completely free, the newsletter. How do we fund our operations? We have some prompt engineering courses. You can go to academy.things.com if you want to become an AI engineer and participate in this AI revolution. Just check out academy.things.com or simply search for Things Academy. You can search for reviews, Things Academy. You can browse the courses, and like one small fee, $100 or so, maybe a bit more, $120 or so, can unlock all courses. So you can go through all our like dozens and dozens of AI courses with a small fee, and this small fee would then unlock obviously a huge market opportunity for you to make money, right? We have already seen before AI engineers make a lot of money. So they here with like salaries of hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Okay, and thanks for listening. Give us a like, subscribe, check out the courses, and see you in the next video. Bye.